introduce our chosen resources. Our effective teaching resource is called Roll a Row. It is highly engaging and interactive for all students. Whereas our second resource, which needs improvement, is not engaging as it does not incorporate authentic literacy nor does it accommodate for all types of learners. Roll a Row is a terrific resource which is engaging, interactive, challenging, fast thinking, but can also be altered for students to be at their level of ability. Differentiation is able to be catered for, and it can also be used for a formative assessment. Students can also check their answers with the answers sheet which is provided, which allows for fast feedback for the students. Below are the rules to play and differentiation options, and also an extension task which students can complete. This resource is ineffective and not appealing as it is not engaging, not challenging, repetitive, and does not allow for authentic literacy where students can connect to the real world. It does not allow for an easy discussion in comparison to Roll a Row, as students will not be collaborating with one another. It does not allow for differentiation, and students will not understand why they are wrong, as teachers often dismark this with a tick or a cross and do not provide effective feedback. This resource allows students to place themselves into a real-world situation. The activity enables students to practice these skills in a fun and engaging way, but also allows students to place themselves into a scenario where they may need to use the grammar skills related to past, present, and future tenses. For example, Isabella will study for her test to Isabella studied for her test, changing from future to past tense. It also allows students to think outside the box and allows students to develop a thorough understanding of the topic. It also provides the opportunity for students to collaborate with one another and can be integrated with assessment tasks. It also provides the students with opportunity to reflect upon their work and their understanding and experience personal relevance, which allows students to practice grammar skills in a familiar and comfortable environment. This resource allows students to relate to what they have learnt in previous grades. According to the syllabus, in early stage 1, students have begun to show developing skills in knowledge, grammar, punctuation, and vocabulary when responding to text. In stage 1, students are able to use basic grammatical features such as punctuation conventions and appropriate vocabulary to the type of text the students are responding to and creating. Roll a Row relates to the current syllabus dot point and uses effective strategies in order to meet this dot point. Roll a Row has scenarios that students are familiar with and allows students to share their stories and experiences. It also encourages students to be accurate with their responses. This resource is culturally responsive as it is a student-centered approach. The resource is motivating and engaging. It challenges students to think critically, and students are able to use problem-solving skills, and focuses on what students can't do rather than what they can't. It allows students to establish a clear understanding and develop high-level academic skills. Culturally responsive teaching can include elements such as history, culture, family involvement, and bringing native language into the classroom.
Roll a Row is an excellent resource at motivating students to learn about tenses, as it promotes intrinsic motivations, such as the joy students feel when they are winning, the desire to do well as they can achieve a full line in this game. The connection between the game and learning promotes excitement towards learning, the independence of demonstrating their skills. Extrinsic motivations, such as the wish to be recognized by your partner or your teacher with the results that you get, the thoughtful feedback from others, and the visual aspect of having a row of 4 boxes complete to then show others. Ways Roll a Row is a balanced approach to literacy and specifically the teaching of grammar. Teacher reads aloud the instructions for Roll a Row. Teacher promotes shared reading through enlarging the instructions on the screen. Teacher facilitates guided reading as they allow students time to read instructions and ask questions. Teacher allows students to consolidate their learning through independent reading. Teacher writes out an example of how to change a tense on the board for everyone to see. As a class, they conduct an example of how to answer a question, facilitating shared writing. Independent and sharing writing is then done in groups with teacher monitoring students' work. In this resource, students' reading, writing, viewing, speaking, and listening is supported by the symbol systems linguistic, oral, gestural, spatial, and visual. Gestural when describing, e.g. rolling a dice when articulating that this is what students need to do. Spatial when separating students into groups. Visual through the color of the layout on the resource. Oral through pitch when describing what the students need to do, and linguistic as there is written instructions on the phrases in the activity.
This resource creates a community of learners and facilitates partner care involvement by promoting engaging manipulatives to be used in a practical and stimulating way. By including a dice in this activity, both individuals can have a turn at rolling and rewriting the sentence to change it to past, present, or future tense. This interactive resource is displayed in the form of a game, with the objective being to be the first player to create a line of 4 boxes, vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. Although the resource is a game, if support is required by a student to rewrite the sentences into their required tenses, then this is encouraged and beneficial to the student's understanding of the concept. This interactive resource is relevant to the curriculum and supports the achievement of the New South Wales syllabus outcomes. Roll a Row aligns with Year 3 in Stage 2, as it is age appropriate and sensitive to all students' needs in what is a progressive learning period for these students. The content in this resource can be easily adapted to meet all individual needs of the students, allowing everyone to feel included and be involved. We would use this resource to scaffold teaching and learning of grammar, both verbally and procedurally, modelling methods like thinking aloud, slowing our speech and enunciation, and simplifying questions. The Roll a Row resource would be used to produce procedural scaffolding by providing explicit modelling through visuals or gestures. The table in the resource is clear and easy to both read and use. We as teachers would roll the dice and give an example of a rewritten sentence to demonstrate how the resource is to be used correctly and how to change a sentence to make it past, present, or future tense. This Changing Tenses worksheet is ineffective and unappealing. Although the resource touches on the New South Wales syllabus outcomes, it doesn't support the students' full understanding of the grammar concept relating to tenses. This resource doesn't target specific age groups and is too vague, incapable of challenging students who require learning and practicing more difficult levels of particular grammar concepts. Students who endure learning difficulties may not be able to engage with the resource as it is basic and doesn't include any visual or hands-on experiences. Although this worksheet resource contains some great sentences appropriate for all year groups to practice past, present, and future tenses, it needs to be modified to engage students and make learning grammar concepts fun and easy to understand. One way to improve the resource is to cut each sentence out and give each student one. Once they have received a sentence, they are to go find their matching sentence and collaborate with the student to change the tense to whichever is required. This activity is more appealing and encourages students to work together to find the solution. Another way to improve the resource would be to include visual cues and audio or a verbal reading option to the sentences. For example, the teacher could read out the sentences and give a tense they want it to be changed to. The students then need to rewrite the sentence using the required tense on mini whiteboards.